What's up, beautiful people? So in today's video, you're gonna see me speak at my first ever school. This was the most amazing experience I have ever had. And in this speech, I give 3 concepts of how to get rid of a mindset that can literally damage your life for good. I hope you guys get something out of this and enjoy this video.
I had it worse than them. But I don't want to disregard your pain because I know that maybe if you're that person, I know how you feel because I was that person. I grew up in West LA, and my life consisted of having a father that was super addicted to drugs. So addicted that literally I would see him smoke out of our kitchen window every single day. There was not a day that he would not smoke. And then having to go to elementary school to get bullied 24/7, and then having to come back home again to see my parents fight so many times continuously every day. And then having to try to shield my little brother away from seeing that because I didn't want him to be as traumatized as I was. I started self-harming myself when I was in 5th grade. I self-harmed because I had so much pain in my heart and so much problems surrounding me that I just couldn't take it. And that was unfortunately the only outlet I found was myself. So life threw me a curveball one day and I went to a whole brand new middle school. And I was like, okay, I'm going to use this as a clean slate. I'm going to be clean. I'm going to start over. So I kind of did. But then I started getting bullied in 6th grade, starting in 6th grade. And I remember thinking, why me? This is not fair. Why am I the victim? Why do I have to get bullied? And then coincidentally, when I started getting bullied, the problems at home started rising again. They started being more severe. So my addiction got worse. My addiction got so much worse that I couldn't go a day without self-harming. There was always scars on my arms and legs, always. And my addiction got so bad that one day in 8th grade, literally, you guys, I was like your age. My favorite teacher, I used to call her my second mom. She was always there for me. I remember her opening the bathroom door, and I remember seeing her, but she was blurry because I was crying. I remember her telling me later on, years later, that I was pale as paper because I stopped eating. I didn't want to eat because of all the problems I had. So I remember her talking to me, and I just remember seeing her lips move, but I don't remember words coming out of her mouth. Like I couldn't hear her. And then that day, she calls my parents and she tells them what stick she found me. And we were sitting literally like right here. So my mom, my dad, me, my teacher, and myself. And I remember looking into my dad's eyes, both my parents' eyes, and I tell them, I've been self-harming myself for a good few years now. And I remember seeing my dad just cry. Like he just looked at me and started crying. I've never seen my dad cry in years. And he started crying. I remember thinking, like I looked at him angry, and I was like, why are you crying? Your addiction made me the person I am. Your addiction started my addiction. Why are you crying? So I only felt sorry for myself. I never felt sorry for anybody else. And I remember seeing my mom, when she heard me say that, she just shook her head and looked down. She never cried. My mom is the strongest person I know. And so after that happened, I thought it was just going to end there. I thought I was just going to tell my parents and that was it. No, I go home and I get a knock on the door. And I open the door and it's this lady with like a suit. And in my head I was like, yo, who is this chick? And I asked her, I'm like, can I help you? And she's like, yeah, I'm a social worker. And I remember my face just paling. Like I remember everything in my body just went, like it went blank. And then I told her, I was like, we don't need you here, you can leave. And she's like, no, I want to ask you some questions. So she started asking me all these questions. And then she got on me, like she was like, well, how are you? Are you good? Are you okay? How are you feeling? Like she started talking to me about all these feelings and emotions, and I was never a person to open up. So I told her, I was like, yo, I'm good. Like I'm chilling. I don't need you to be here. And then she's like, no, you're not okay. And then she left. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, is that it? She's not gonna come back, right? She's like, no. But then an ambulance comes and it's standing. It's parked right in front of my apartment building. And I get taken away to a mental facility for 24 hours. And I remember when I was there, they literally had me take off everything. Like I was dressed like in with a hospital robe, and they took off the laces off my shoes. They took everything off. It was the most crazy experience I've ever had. But then I remember sitting in that mental facility, and there was a good 5 kids with me. And I remember talking to this girl, and I was telling her my story. I was like, yeah, this is what I've gone through. I remember just complaining about it. Literally, just to be real with you guys, I was always complaining. And then she looked at me, and then I asked her, I was like, well, why are you here? And she looks at me, she's like, oh. And she says it like it's normal. She's like, oh, I took a gun to school and pointed it at my bully because I was sick and tired of getting bullied. And I remember, I was shocked. I was like, well, okay, I didn't do that. I didn't have it that bad. And then I realized that day, I kind of had half of an epiphany. So if you know what an epiphany is, it's a realization. So I got half of that, because after that day, I started being clean for a good while. But then I started getting bullied again, 7th grade, 8th grade. I went through so much stuff, and then family problems again started rising, and I was like, I'm done. And I went back to self-harming. So after 8th grade, my mom couldn't take it anymore because my dad's addiction got even worse. And with his addiction being worse, and since I saw my dad as my hero, I started getting worse too, because I was trying to show him that his addiction was affecting me. So I started getting worse, and my mom saw that. So she took my brother, herself, and me out to Santa Clarita to live with my uncle, my aunt, and my 2 cousins. And I remember thinking, okay, this is another clean slate. I can start over again. I can be good. I can do something good with my life. And I did. I tried out for the basketball team. I got in. But then I remember that the mentality I had from 6th grade to 10th grade was the worst kind of mentality anybody can have. I call it the victim mentality. What does that mean? That means I only saw myself as a victim. Throughout my whole story, I was only complaining and only seeing the negative instead of seeing the positive in my life. So with that, when you have a negative mentality, the only type of energy and the only type of people you're gonna attract is negative people. So the people I attracted was people who did drugs, was people who never cared. Some of them were like that. Some of them were actually really good friends I had. With that mentality, I realized I was attracting the wrong kind of people. So that meant more unnecessary drama in my life. That meant more problems again in my new high school that I could have taken an advantage on, and I could have used it as a clean slate. But instead, I attracted the wrong type of people because of the mindset I had, and it just got worse. And coincidentally, again, with the problems at school came with the problems at home, because I started doing drugs. I started getting into things I shouldn't be getting into. And my mom saw that, and she started, I had problems with my parents. I had problems with my uncle and my aunt, because they were like, yo, we took you in so you can have a new clean slate, and you're not doing anything about it. So what I want to ask you guys now is, what are you doing with your life? Do you have the same mindset I had? Do you only see the negative in your life? Maybe some of you guys have never had problems as worse as I did, but every single one of you, I will acknowledge that some of you guys have gone through pain and have been hurt multiple times. And I want to acknowledge that pain, but I don't want to acknowledge it too much, because I don't want you guys to feel sorry for yourselves, because that's what I did. I would only complain about going through the wrong things in life. I would complain and literally scream out, why me? Why did I have to have anxiety? Why did I get diagnosed with depression? Why wasn't I a better daughter, a better sister, a better niece, a better cousin? But never, ever, ever did I do something to turn my life around. I would only dwell, mope, and cry about how bad my life was, but never did I say once, I'm gonna get clean. Until I tried throughout that lifespan, I tried committing suicide 3 times. And the 3rd time, taking a bottle of sleeping pills. And then my brother was in the same room as me, and he saw me. He was looking at me. He was 11. Imagine being 11 and seeing your big sister or your big brother taking a bottle of pills and crying themselves to sleep. And that 3rd time that I tried taking my life, not only I kind of realized that I wasn't the only one hurting myself. I drained myself mentally, emotionally, and physically, but I also drained those around me. But never in that moment, never once did I think, maybe I'm hurting my brother. Maybe there's somebody out there that has the same problems as me. Maybe I'm not the only one. Never did I realize that I had a purpose. Never did I realize that I was only dwelling in my problems. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. The victim mindset is like what I said, only seeing yourself as a victim and never thinking about those around you. Never realizing, you know what, there is somebody out there who can help me, who has gone through the same stuff as I gone through. And there's 3 ways that you can take that victim mindset out of your system. The first step is you have to admit you have a victim mindset. And this is a step I never wanted to do. I remember when I first met my mentor, I told him my life story like I'm telling you guys, and he looked me straight in the eyes and he was like, why are you complaining? And I looked at him, I was like, I'm saying my life story to you. What do you mean I'm complaining? He's like, well, have you used that pain for your breakthrough? Do you know what your purpose is in life? Have you tried finding what you're passionate about? And I looked at him and I answered, no. And he's like, then that's complaining because you're not using what you've gone through as an advantage. So the first step is to admit that you have a victim mindset. The second step is to stop complaining and start being grateful. Now, it's easier said than done because every human out there, you cannot tell me that there's not one single human that doesn't complain. There is at least every single person out there complains. We all know this. I remember a few days ago, I was like trying to upload my YouTube video and the Wi-Fi was so slow. And I remember screaming at my brother, I was like, yo, stop eating up the Wi-Fi. And then I remember looking up and guess what I saw? A roof. I saw a roof and then I realized, wait, I have a roof over my head. I'm sitting on a couch. I have clothes on my body. I have air conditioning in my house. There's somebody out there who doesn't have a house. There's somebody out there who doesn't have clothes to put on their bodies. There's somebody out there who doesn't even have a shower. There's somebody out there that doesn't even have parents. And then I started having that change my mindset from complaining to a mindset of gratitude, a perspective of gratitude. And I started being grateful. So what I do now, because I still complain, I'm not perfect. I still complain, always. And before I complain, this is where I changed. Before I complain, I named 3 little things that I'm grateful for. It can be the tiniest things in your life. Literally, what I always name is my bed, my shower, and my kitty. Literally, that's it. And then I start realizing, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I need to be more grateful. I need to stop complaining. The third and final step is to realize that every single one of you guys in here has purpose. And I know you guys are probably thinking, yo, I'm in 8th grade. I don't need that whole purpose, passion talk right now. I get it. I was in your position once. Trust me, I know. I've reacted like that when speakers have come to my school and speak and tell me, oh, you have a purpose. But it's the mindset and it's the process that you're in. So think about it. If you would have told 9th grade Kayla that was self-harming, that was complaining, that was always crying about everything in her life, oh, you're going to have a purpose? You have a purpose? I would have been like, yeah, you're funny. I would laugh in your face. And I would have been like, nah, that's too hard. I don't want to do it. Too bad. But I went through my process, and the day that I was ready, which was 10th grade, which was when a speaker came to my school, and that's when I realized I wanted to do speaking, that's when I realized I was ready. I was ready to commit. I was ready to be persistent. I was ready to accomplish what I needed to accomplish in this earth. Because every single one of you guys has a purpose that needs to be accomplished in this earth. And if you have the victim mindset that I was talking about, you're not going to accomplish it. I guarantee it for sure. So I really want to touch upon how I'm not trying to boost my ego or anything, but I am literally living proof that you can get through any hardship, any adversities in your life. And that every single one of you guys, again, has a purpose. And if it's something super small, like your passion can be playing video games. And maybe one day you just want to do that for the rest of your life. And that's fine. That's amazing. I think that's great. Or maybe your passion is to do speaking like I do. Or maybe your passion is being a photographer. Or maybe your passion is helping somebody out in a therapy session. Maybe you want to become a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a doctor. Whatever it is, act on it and know it and have it in you 24/7 every single day. Because right now in 8th grade, when I was in 8th grade, I never realized I was going to do what I'm doing. And once I got into high school, I kind of started getting, adapted to all these other things. And I started being kind of like realizing what I wanted to do, and that was to help people. And if that is your passion, if that is your why, you need to have that in you 24/7 and think about it every single day. Because I could have been another teen suicide statistic. Think about it. I could have honestly, straight up to be with you guys, I could have passed away that third time I tried taking my life. But I didn't. And I didn't go back because my determination and the fire I kept in me to wanting to find why did I have to go through the things I had to go through, and wanting to find my passion and wanting to really accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish in this one life. You only have one life. Think about it. So act on it, because that's what kept me going 24/7. And that's what made me realize that I have a bigger perspective and I have a bigger passion to act on. And that is what changed my mindset to a mindset of determination and a perspective of gratitude. Thank you so much for being amazing listeners. And thank you, Mr. Spalding, for having me.